Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
What's going on YouTube? It's Filthy and we're back with another video. Today we're taking a look at a guess starter build for the Demon Hunter for Season 27. We know we're going to get the Unhallowed Essence set. I'm going to show you why I think Demon Hunter is probably the fastest start. It's very, very close between that and I think maybe Necro, but I'm going to show why. If you're a solo casual player, I think Demon Hunter is a pretty solid choice to start off. Before we do jump in and take a look at the UE Multishot Demon Hunter, which is what we're going to try and build, I guess, today, as always guys, a thumbs up really does brighten my day. Now, this is going to be without any sanctified items. I'm playing off season at the moment because unfortunately my holiday coincided with PTR. Bad luck for me, but we're going to do the best that we can with the videos for Season 27 once it goes live. Quite excited for it. I do think it's going to be good. But today I've got some big news. We've been lucky enough to be sponsored by not one but by two awesome games. They are completely different, so if you don't like one you'll probably love the other. First off, we've got Mech Arena. This is a game that I'd heard really good things about before the sponsorship. It was something I was intending to check out at some point, so really privileged to get the opportunity. This is a high octane competitive shooter, emphasis on big weapons, big fun and all around mayhem. I've been having fun with the opening stages of this game. As I say, it is new to me, playing with the Lancer, jumping up and getting some vertical advantage on people, raining down rockets. We've also got cool weapons. We've got plasma cannons, we've got laser cannons, we've got rocket launchers, we've got machine guns. There does seem to be an awful lot to unlock and enjoy. Early days for me on this one, but I have really enjoyed it. So if you do like high octane gameplay, blasting people from above, do jump in and check it out. Almost endless gameplay with that one, but if you prefer something a little bit heavier in tone, a little bit darker, maybe pairing a bit more with Diablo 3 and that kind of feel, we've got a dark fantasy game which is of course Raid Shadow Legends. Almost 700 unique heroes to collect. I personally have collected hundreds of them myself. I've been playing this game for 2 years. I was in a high-end clan, pretty much unlocked all of the content. We were doing it all at the highest level. Now, I loved collecting characters, but I actually loved the complex problem solving of working out how to synergize the characters with their kits together, working out how to use them in the best scenario. I like lots of the events where it's you can only use this faction paired with this faction. I've really enjoyed the PvP and the 3v3 tag team arena. I've had a lot of fun with this game. I've got almost to max level, 95 out of 100. It is something that I have played an awful lot. So you have two options. They are both completely free. If you just give one of them a try, it will massively help out the channel, and obviously if you do fancy trying out both. But the good news doesn't end there. If you use the link in the description or the QR code for either of these two games, you're going to get some special loot. So if you download the Mech Arena, you're going to get $25 worth of bonuses. So we've got a Firelight skin, a Prodigy crate and a Plasma cannon to help kickstart your game. I would have appreciated these when starting. And in terms of raid, if you install this with the link, again you will get some unique bonuses worth $30 this time. Free Epic Champion Ina, 200k silver, 1 energy refill, XP boost and an Ancient Shard. Epic Champion early on in raid, having played through the game, as I say, 2 or 3 times from the start would be a really big boost. And you never know your luck, in that Ancient Shard you might get some gold, you might get yourself a legendary champion. I hope that contains something awesome for you. All of these rewards will be in the inbox for raid and in the inbox for Mech Arena, so just make sure that you do grab them. As I say, link in the description, use the QR code. These games are a lot of fun. I do play them, I do enjoy them. So thanks again to Plarium for sponsoring the video, and back to the content. But a comment that I get quite a lot of the time is the gear is too good, or this isn't early enough, or we won't have the sanctified items, which I think is a fair comment. I mean, a lot of the guides obviously we're trying to show you kind of how things would be once you've been playing for a few days, once you've got your build set up. But like it or lump it, we're going to be stuck with the UE set to start off with, and you're not going to have any sanctified items because you're probably not going to find any of the Angelic Crucibles. Drop rate on PTR didn't seem too bad for what I did play of it. I did play up to about 950 Paragon. They were dropping at the end of Rifts. I can't be certain as to what the drop rate will be like. I'm going to hazard a guess it's going to be a little bit like Ethereals. They seem to be dropping around about that. I pray to God it's not going to be like the Echoing Nightmare keys, because that would be far too low. But the good news with the UE Demon Hunter, and what makes it a very strong contender for fastest start, is because you don't really need any Sanctified items. Now, this isn't going to be a guide of a fully juiced up multi-shot Demon Hunter, simply because I think there are going to be better options for the DH for key farming. Once you get Sanctified item, I do think UE will be the best way to do it. You'll do it with the strafe, you'll do it with the automatic firing out of the stuff, which will wipe the screen. But until you get that Sanctified item, UE is a good T16 build, but it does need a few kind of bells and whistles to it. And I think the Gears of Dreadlands still probably is going to be your best starting choice. But looking at the UE set, on the 2-piece, our generators get 2 additional hatred and 1 discipline. That's pretty crap. Doesn't, fine, a little bit of resource. You're not going to be jumping for joy when you get your 2-piece bonus for this. 4-piece is slightly better. 60% damage reduction is healthy until you find like a gold wrap and a boon of the hoarder. You get 60% increased damage for 8 seconds if no enemy was in 10 yards of you. That's what this little indicator at the bottom here is. Not brilliant. I mean, 60% damage is kind of okay because it is a little bit of damage, but 60% in a game that's got thousands of percent modifiers is not amazing. So 2 and 4-piece bonuses are not great, but obviously you're going to do your season journey, you're going to get your 6-piece, and this is where your generators, Multishot and Vengeance all deal 350% increased damage for every point of discipline you have. Now this is discipline you have, so not max discipline. If you deplete all of your discipline, you will do no damage. It has to be discipline that is in your orb, this little blue section here. Now, there are a few places you can pick up extra discipline. So on your Yang's recurve, when you get that, you can get secondary on bows, you can get it secondary on your quivers, you can also get it as secondary on your chest plate. I mean, when you get your set dropped to you from the Haedrig, from the season journey, fingers crossed you do get a max discipline roll on the chest. It does help out with quite a bit of damage. Now, there are quite a few different ways to build a UE Demon Hunter, because obviously generators, Multishot, Vengeance all get increased damage. Now, Multishot is the classic one. This is the one that has been around, I think, for as long as I've been creating content on YouTube. Multishot has always been a fun build and a popular build, just simply because it's got this great AoE, which makes it the best. So you're going to need a Yang's recurve. Multishot attacks 50% faster and has its damage increased by 200%. You're also going to need a Dead Man's Legacy. Multishot hits enemies below 60% health twice and has its damage increased by 200%. Now, I don't keep shit gear. Maybe I should start doing that, but obviously I've got the max modifier here, max modifier here. I mean, in terms of getting these 2 items, you're rolling shards on quivers for sure. One will pop out eventually. Obviously it won't be primal because you'll have to clear GR70, but fingers crossed it's a decent one for you. And then the same for the Yangs. You want one of these for your Demon Hunter for the Gears of Dreadlands, again subject to getting a Sanctified item. So it's not the worst thing in the world to be upgrading 2-handed bows in the cube for a Yangs, and that's going to be your best bet because Multishot is probably the thing that hits the hardest. Big AoE, lots of extra hits, and that type of thing. But because it does work with generators, there are some interesting options that you can try out early on. So if you happen to start rolling shards on a Dead Man's Legacy and you hit yourself a 9th series satchel, well, you're just going to stick Hungering Arrow on the bar and then you're going to use that to deal some damage. It doesn't do as much as you would hope. It's usable. I wouldn't really say it's T16 viable, even if you put the satchel on and the Hunter's Wrath belt, which is the other item that normally goes with that. You just can't fire them out fast enough, basically. It's not like a God DH where you strafe around and they fire out automatically. But if you did hit a series satchel, stick it on whilst you're trying to find your Dead Man's, and then it will give you a nice 600% increase to Hungering Arrow. The same goes for the duffel, the duffel bag, MEA's duffel. Bowlers will explode instantly and deal extra damage. With the 9 Boa for sheer, you can get bowlers increased damage as well. if you happen to find these two, you know, you're going for the Deadmans, you're going for the Yangs, but you might hit the two bowler things. Again, stick them on, stick your bowlers on the bar. But again, it's the same issue really. You just can't really fire them off to be worthwhile bothering with, but they will do you until you get your Yangs and your Deadmans. And another slight shout for the Odyssey's End. Again, this is another bow you might hit as you're doing some upgrades. You would need Entangling Shot, and you just need to tag with something like Chain Gang, something like Heavy Burden to get that extra damage. But you know, realistically, you want to be going the multi-shot route. That's, you know, going to be your best bet to start off with. Ring wise, it depends on your toughness. If you can find yourself a gold wrap, you know, this to get in the cube is very easy. It's in the loot pool at level 1. You just need to scrounge your puzzle ring off somebody, be part of a group, or get lucky and find one to get your Boon of the Hoarder to get you gold. Even a rank 0 Boon of the Hoarder will give you enough gold probably to just about stay alive. Obviously it's much easier with a rank 51. But you know, it is what it is. Until then, there are some toughness options that you've got. You know, if you find yourself a Visage of Goons, you can stick that in the cube for 50% damage reduction whilst you have your Vengeance active. You know, you might get lucky and find an elusive ring, but if you are doing the gold wrap, if you are doing the Boon of the Hoarder, then you just want damage from the rings. Focus and Restraint is generally how you go with the Multishot Demon Hunter, but again, you know, you're not going to be you're not necessarily going to get these items. Convention of Elements works fine. Stone of Jordan actually is quite nice because again it does have a max discipline roll on it, so it is a little bit more damage again. You know, it squirts as you get further advanced. I've just put on a crap amulet to try and keep my sheet damage down. That's why I've got no main stat gems in. It's why I've got no green gem in my weapon, to try and bring the damage figure down a little bit. I've also been playing with absolutely no Paragon points. Again, just this is like as low as I can get it without farming up an entire non-ancient set of UE stuff that I'm not going to walk up, and that just seems like a bit too much effort for somebody as casual as me. Now bear in mind, one thing you are going to have access to next season as well is also the Guardian's Gaze set. This is obviously the pre-patched version, so it gives a crappy 250 vitality, 8,000 life per second. But on season, if you pop on this belt and these pair of braces, you would actually get a doubling of your main stat of all of the stuff equipped. So you know, you might well find yourself at like 14k main stat just by slapping this set on. Now I don't think it's going to be the same as the Sage's set, as in Hadriel will know the plans as soon as you get to 70. I think it's probably going to require you to find the plans, but you're going to have to do some bounties at some point anyway. You might find a goblin in Sanctuary that drops you the plans, so if you get lucky, that could be a really big boost for you. And the great thing is, because the two-piece is what gives you all the bonuses, you don't even need to find yourself a rogue. Obviously I've got one in the cube. It's not really doing anything for us, but again, I don't want to overslam this build with stuff. Bane of the Powerful is always going to be the first legendary gem you get in a season. It will give you a little bit of a power boost at rank 0. You know, obviously you will try and rank stuff up as you go, and if you can keep that 20% extra damage, 15% against elites, 15% damage reduction, that would be handy. And every Demon Hunter generally wants to find a Dawn for the cube so that you get this huge 65% cooldown reduction on Vengeance. This will do T16. It's not massively fast because our main stat's low. We've only got one damage gem. We've got a crappy amulet. Even though it's got the perfect modifiers and a decent amount of discipline, it will do it. But the point of this video is not to show you the UEDH at its fastest, but just kind of at a base kind of startery level. For your braces, until you get yourself a Guardians, anything will do. I've got Wraps of Clarity, but it could be anything. You know, just the good thing about Multishot as well is lots of the runes are nice. Arsenal with the fire and the rockets is the way I think to go, because you can pair that with ballistics, which I think works out as decent damage. But you can do full broadside, which is the physical. I think it's always been close between these two as to which is the best damage wise. But also Wind Chill will give you a slow, and then there's the Fire at Will one, which is, you know, don't rule this one out early on. The lightning, it really does help out with the discipline cost, because it is a little bit thirsty to start off with. You know, long-term wise, you might go Guardians, you might go Crimsons with a Rogue, all that sort of stuff. It just depends. This is just supposed to be a little bit of a starter taste. Now, as you're going through and building this, do keep your eye out for 2 pieces of shadow. Not highly likely that you'll come across them, but you never know. If you find one, if the game just happens to drop you a green item fairly early, and it's a shadow piece, you might want to consider rolling for a second. Something like trousers, which are very easy to come by, because this 2-piece on the shadow, when you've got a melee weapon equipped, you get 6,000% increased damage. You will have presumably upgraded a dagger and a cube for your leveling process, so you'll have maybe a Carlay's point, maybe you'll have the Lord Greenstones in the cube. You just need to make another one and make sure you've got a melee weapon. And obviously, if you are doing that, if you're going for the Carlays, well, again, you might have found yourself a holy point shot looking for your dead man. So, don't be afraid to do the dirty on the UE 2 and 4 piece and just use the shadow, because the shadow is really nice. Imagine this 6,000% increased weapon damage. You pick yourself a Bacari's point, you get lucky, you get a holy point shot, maybe you've got the Guardian set, you can also use the Sages set early on as well. This is craftable immediately for a little bit of a stat boost. It could well be that is your route into the 6-piece UE, because it's probably just going to be a lot faster. And again, sometimes you can get lucky and the game might just drop you a couple of the shadow pieces and you might be at 4-piece shadow. And I would always go and get the 6-piece set, I think, because that last piece will be annoying. But do bear in mind, you can always do convert in the cube. It's quite cheap to swap a set piece around. Where is it? Convert set item, 10 DBs and 10 Forgotten Souls. So keep any dupes you get, and the same. But no sanctified items, all things being equal, I'm probably still going to build a Gears of Dreadlands DH, because I know that as soon as I get 6 pieces, a Hunter's Wrath, and a 9th Series Satchel, it's rock and roll time, and you will just blast T16 completely for free. I would probably try and build that early on over a Shadow DH. It depends on the sanctified items, it depends how many drops you get, but ultimately you want the main Demon Hunter one, which is that strafe fires out the powers, and that's how you get your UEDH, your Shadow Impaled DH going. I would say solo casual wise, again, unfortunately I didn't tape any footage because I kind of cocked up and thought the PTR was lasting longer than it was. But on the solo casual side, the Shadow DH with the Guardian set, I was blasting 110s, 115s, absolutely just as easy as anything. So solo casual Paragon farming, that is 100% the way I go. Anyway, I think we've talked some DH options. I can't really think of too much else. There's probably a couple of other nice items that we could come across. And don't worry, we're probably not going to do a full rift because it is a little bit slow without the stuff. I'll tell you what, we haven't done the skills, have we? Let's do that. Any generator you want, it does not matter. I can't see any great advantage of any of them. Multishot depends, just match your element on your braces. So I've got fire on my braces, so we'll go multi-shot. If you're doing the multi-shot, stick ballistics on. If you're not doing arsenal, don't stick ballistics on. You can change this passive. Vengeance, Seethe, you might want to go for toughness early on until you get yourself a Boon of the Horde, a gold wrap going. 50% damage reduction is obviously handy. If you happen to get yourself the Visage of Goons, you don't need it, and just run Seethe. Seethe will give you, the hatred regen, which is handy because multi-shot, as I said earlier, is a tad thirsty. 40% damage as well whilst you got Vengeance up, so try and keep it up as long as you can. That's what she said. Companion, again, this is really swappable. Wolf Companion will give you a bit more damage. Ferret is really good early on because it gives you a decent amount of pickup radius, and until you find an Avarice Band and give it to your follower, that's going to be quite nice. Boar Companion can also be nice for a bit of toughness, again, until you get your gold wrap going. Bat Companion is nice again early. A lot of these runes are quite nice early, simply because you can do some extra hatred, and that means more multi-shots, which means more damage. I stick Vault on Tumble to reduce the discipline cost, because I'm going to use this to get about and I don't want to spend too much discipline. I'm going to pair that with Tactical Advantage for a little bit of move speed. Prep Invig is going to give us more discipline, so that's more damage, and we get perma max increase, and it also restores when we pop it. So if you happen to just accidentally over tumble, you can just pop it and you get it back, which is handy. Ambush, 40% damage to enemies above 75% health. Possibly not useful too much at the start, because this is really for one banging things when you get enough damage to like one hit stuff. Steady aim, this synergizes quite well with UE, because if there's no enemies within range you get 20% extra damage. That's kind of how the whole UE set works. Other options can be, if let's say you do happen to get yourself a trapped nice and early, and you can, even if you level it up to 25, then you probably want to be going the Thrill of the Hunt, Hatred Spender, slow enemies that will proc your trapped. You can also take Colour of the Week, so slowed or chilled enemies get an extra 20% wallop. By all means, awareness, cheat death early on. You probably should be taking it until you find yourself a token for your follower to mean that they can't die, and then you can take the follower's cheat death and you can dump it at that point. But yeah, they're the main things. Archery would eke out a little bit more damage with a bow, 8% increased damage. By all means, you can stick it somewhere if you want.
That's what she said.
But I always like to move fast, so I go for move speed personally. Right, now that we've actually remembered to do the skills, blam a load of buttons, and as you can see, we do have the max modifier on, but even with only one damage gem, which probably wasn't even up for that first elite kill, we can do it. So I do think it's pretty close to being T16 just as soon as you get your Yang's Recurve and your Dead Man's Legacy. Obviously Focus and Restraint do a decent amount of damage. It's about 150%. So you would have to kind of account for that. But bear in mind, you would have some Paragon points. You would, have another gem for some damage. You might have Stone Adjured. You might have Convention of Elements. So maybe it won't be T16 straight out the box. You probably need to find a little bit of extra damage from your rings and stuff. But it's gonna be pretty damn close. And this is why Demon Hunter, I think, is a pretty good start. And for solo casual play, I think it probably would be. I know this is doing my Necro dirty. I do love the Necro. I do think this is the class to play if you're a solo casual player. And the reason is you've got a lot of sets that are a lot of fun. So I've always liked this. This is nice. You can scream wipe with the multi-shot. You can when you get end game sort of stuff, you can make your UE Demon Hunter ridiculously fast, like tons of move speed. So it's a lot of fun to play, which is good. You've got Gears of Dreadlands, which is always a fan favourite. All of the Demon Hunter builds look like they're going to be kind of spin to win next season with their Sanctified Items. So you've got a few sets you can play, albeit your mechanic might end up being fairly similar. And you've also got Marauders, which is always strong. So there's some decent options. I would say Multishot's not great for bosses. It can be a bit of a slog. Again, another reason to jump on the Gears of Dreadlands, but that wasn't too slow, and that's 11k main stat and 800k sheet damage, which fine. You won't have the ancient items with the augments on, but you will have something. You'll be able to find some damage from somewhere. And ultimately, if you don't quite make T16 as soon as you get these 6 pieces, a Yang's and a Deadman's on your character, you'll probably be doing T15 and certainly T14 without breaking a sweat, I would have thought. In terms of stats, multi-shot damage, I mean, don't worry about your deadmans. This is one of the worst items to roll, so don't invest tons of mats trying to get a better one, because again, you might go and play something else. But multi-shot damage, crit damage, obviously is nice, crit chance, sorry. Multi-shot or crit on your helm is cool, multi-shot on your boots if you can get it, and then generally, you're always trying for cooldown, you're always trying for double crit, but you don't have to sweat it too hard, because as I say, this is maybe a transition for you. Now, it may well be that UE is the key farming build for next season. I'm going to roll, I think, DH or Necro. If I roll DH, I will make a seasonal T16 guide once I've got it up and running, but that is going to take a few hours of farming to get done. So, you know, it's interesting. You're going to spend a lot of time playing Shadow next season, I think, because it's going to be the most powerful set, I think, that you can get your hands on. Probably second only build-wise in the game to the Wave of Light Monk, so that's going to be cool. UE you can use for keys bounties and maybe a little bit of speed farm and GRs. If you want to go and play classic Gears of Dreadlands, you can do. Marauders again is an option. So it's only really Natalia's that is kind of in the mud for not terribly being usable. So yeah, I think all in all, Demon Hunter is going to be a really good start next season. Fingers crossed. I mean, imagine sticking the Guardian set on this. That would just like, even without Sanctified Items. So it's going to be a fun season. It's going to be hard not to make a Demon Hunter. I am tempted by Necro. But I will do a full written starter guide where we do go through the presentation of how exactly to build this, the order of the items, the blood shards, how to spend the challenge, rift, baggy, and all that stuff. Just because I like having it written down for you, because I know that a lot of servers tend to go a bit haywire at the season start. But this is the UE build I would be probably working towards before putting my Shadow Demon Hunter together and blasting those 100 plus rifts pretty much instantly. So yeah, a lot of power out of this. Certainly a better set to get your hands on, I think, almost than anything else. I can't really think of anything else that's going to crunch hundreds pretty easily. It would have been the Inner Monk, but we know that's getting a nerf, so we'll have to see. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I've turned my face off for this one just because I knew there's going to be some stuff in the inventory. Don't worry, I am well. I am here. And I'll be back with some more videos soon. Take it easy, guys. Peace.